Hey, Year 11, here we go with some additional videos, some sort of I don't know what we're going to call them, additional videos. Some harder stuff to go with each one of these things. Might help with your revision, might help you sort of extend things out a little further. Sometimes looking at some harder questions certainly makes the easier ones a bit more familiar. Okay, so let's look at some of these. We might have a look at this first one here. What must be added to this to give this? Well, you know, if I said, what has to be added to 5 to give 7... the mathematical way of finding that answer is to do 7 minus 5. Right, so I want to end up with this. I've started with this. If I do this minus this, so let's say, question 19, let's write this nice and mathematically, and I'm going to say 3x cubed plus 7x minus 6. So that's what I'm going to end up with. If I subtract all of this, put the brackets because we're going to have to distribute that negative. 4x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2, right? If I subtract this, well, that's going to tell me what I could add to this to give this, right? Equals. So let's just rewrite that first bit. The 3x cubed plus 7x minus 6. Now, I've got minus 4x cubed. Now, it becomes a plus because of the negative and another negative, okay? So plus 3x squared minus 2, okay? Now we're going to go through and collect some like terms. Helps to start with the biggest one. So I've got 3x cubes here and a minus 4. So I've got a negative x cubed. Now we've got any x squareds? Yeah, I've got that 3x squared. 3x squared. Now I've got 7x here. That's all. Plus 7x. And I've got a minus 6 and a minus 2 is a minus 8. Okay, so what has to be added to this to give this? Yeah, if I add that, right, so I'm going to end up taking one of the x cubes away. It gives me 3x cubes. I am going to cancel out all of those x squareds because this doesn't have any x squared, so I add the same amount there. To get the 7x, I've got to add a 7x in here, and to turn the 2 into a negative 6, well, I take 8 away. Right? So that's a nice mathematical way of working that out, right? By writing this expression, by subtracting and distributing and collecting like terms. Lovely. Right, let's have a look at, let's look at 20a here. 20a. Now I've got 3a by 3a by 3a is 9a cubed over 3a plus 3a. Oh, that's terrible. Not 9a cubed at all. Easy way to go. That's, of course, 27a cubed. I was going to ask the question, what sort of mistake could you make when you do this? That mistake, right, over 9a. Not 9a squared or cubed or anything like that. Okay, that's the difference between multiplying and adding. Okay, right, between multiplying and adding here, we get 27a cubed on top, 9a on the bottom. Is there any cancelling we can do? Of course there is. Okay, so I could rewrite that. Now, you could just cancel it straight away, but I'm going to write this as 9a times 3a squared at the top. Right, because 9a times 3a squared is 27a to the 3. That's fine. All over, of course. 9a, they cancel. And I get an answer of 3a squared. Wonderful. Now, I think we'll have a look at, let's just look at 22, not because it's particularly hard, it's just that it sort of seems wordy, okay? The product, you know, all these sorts of things. Right, so let's treat that as a mathematical expression. So 22, divide the product of this and this. So that means I need to multiply these two things together and divide it by this. Let's write it like that. I have negative 3x to the 7 y to the power of 5 all to the power of 4 times negative 2xy to the 6 all to the power of 3 all over negative 6x to the 3 y to the 8 all raised to the power of 2. Now, we are going to expand these before we multiply them together. Right. Are we? Yeah, I guess we are. Now, negative 3 to the power of 4. Well, that's a bit like, we're going to square it and then square it again. So if I square that, I get positive 9. 9 squared is 81. I get 81 x to the, now, power to the power, they multiply together, x to the 28, y to the power of 20, right, I've got that, multiplied by, we're going to get rid of these brackets here, that's handy. Now, negative 2 to the 3 is negative 8. Okay, if I take a negative number to an odd power, I get a negative answer. If I take a negative number to an even power, I get an even answer. I get a positive answer, sorry, positive answer. Okay, so I get the negative 8, x to the 3, y to the 18, all over now. Now, the negative 6 squared gives me positive 36. X to the 6, y to the 16. Now, I am going to do something a bit trickier here. Now, I'm going to call that 3 to the 4. Okay, we sort of have done that already. 3 to the 4, it's negative 3 to the 4, but it's also 3 to the 4. 3 to the 4, I'm going to say it's negative 1, right, times negative 1 times 2 to the 3. I'm just going to sort of put these things together. Now I've got times x to the power of, altogether I've got 31, and y times y to the 38. They're crazy big powers. All over. Now 36, I'm going to break this down into primes. We could say it's 6 times 6, but that's also 2 squared times 3 squared. Okay, 4 times 9. Right, so 2 squared. I'm going to use this little dot here. It looks a bit like a decimal place. It means multiply. It's handy when you've got all these things, rather than x's. 2 squared by 3 squared by x to the 6 by y to the 16. Right, it just makes it easier to cancel. Okay, so first of all, my answer is going to end up with that negative way out the front. That negative 1, it's not cancelling with the negative at the bottom, so I've got a negative. It could be at the top, it could be at the bottom, but I'm just going to leave it to the left. Right, so there's the negative taken care of. Let's take care of the 2's next. I've got 2 to the 3 here, 2 to the 2 there. Right, so so I'm going to cancel 2 of those out, leaves me with 2 to the 1, which is just 2. Minus 2 times. Now that's the 2's taken care of. Now the 3's. 3 to the 4 at the top, 3 squared down the bottom. That leaves me with 3 squared up the top times 3 squared. That's the 2's and the 3's taken care of. I have no other coefficients there as such. Right, 2 and 3's taken care of. Now the x's. 31 here. A mere 6 of them on the bottom. So when they cancel out, I'm going to have still 25 left up there. X to the 25. And then y to the 22. And you notice that, oh man, that's a pretty terrible looking 22. That could be anything. Y to the 22. Let's try again. Still not that great. But anyway, so we've got those things there. And I suppose maybe, that's quite a nice answer. I do quite like it like that. But we might just do this. The 3 squared is 9 times 2 is 18. So we might call it negative 18. X to the 25. Y to the 22. Okay. You do need fairly neat work, and I'm reluctant to call my work too neat there. It needs to be fairly neat so that you can read all of that as you go along. Okay, but, you know, from what's a moderately complicated question, there's a nice answer. Okay, that's our first harder video. I hope you enjoyed it. Shoot me a question if you got any questions. Okay, check out the next video.